Bam.
And
Check
we
it.
are live.
Episode 147 of the A2 show. We do this 147 days. And we have a special guest. Our third A.
Our third A of the
Ali and Allis.
Ali and Alice.
Yeah.
And thank you so much for coming on the show. Why don't you
Thank
let
you.
the world know who you are and what you do?
Thank you guys for having me. Yeah, my name is Allis Markham. I am a taxidermist. So, what do? I mean, I take dead animals and I make them look alive again, and I do this mostly for museums and nature centers.
Oh, wow.
I mean,
A taxidermist.
Taxidermist.
this is probably going to be an offensive joke, but hey, why not? You took petting zoos to a whole nother level.
Oh
Just
my
make petting zoos much more safer.
Yeah, it's great. They won't attack you. They don't shit everywhere. We're good to go.
We're good to go. But
Alice,
yeah,
can I see whatever that is behind you? That
Oh.
mountain lion?
Yeah, this is a mountain lion.
Wow.
The other way. Let's see if I can stretch I could actually just turn him around.
What? Oh
Yeah.
my God.
So,
Wait,
That's so
this is
wild.
an act like that used to be a real mountain lion.
I mean, it's still a real mountain lion.
It's dead, so I don't know what do you want to
That's pretty
consider it. It's like
And that's from That's
Well,
from,
I mean, that's what people ask. They're always like, "Are they real?" And it's like, yeah, they're real in the sense that it's really the skin of the animal. The inside is all a sculpture. So like I'll kind of show you, like, this would be for a bobcat.
oh.
And so what I'm showing now is it's just an internal sculpture replacing all the muscle and everything that was there. It's glass eyes. I'm not an undertaker. There's no formaldehyde involved. Nothing like that. So,
Right.
yeah.
I mean, it looks fluffy and amazing until you tell me it's real. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I've seen cadavers, and this is just like to a whole nother. I don't know why. It's just like
Yeah.
know,
Yeah, people kind of think I'm a little creepy. I actually have a friend who's a mortician, and we were out. We were traveling together, and we met a couple like young, cute guys, and they're talking. They're in marketing. They're like, "What do you guys do?" And in that moment, I realized I'm a taxidermist. She's a mortician. These guys are leaving, and I was correct.
I mean,
They were done.
listen, I'm not gonna lie. I thought taxidermy was more of something that they do in like the South, kind of, but like, it's good to see that it's. Well, I don't know if it's good, but it's amazing actually to see that it's out in LA and like, it's practiced all over the States.
Taxidermy is not alive and well.
What?
I'm saying it's not alive, but it is well.
Oh,
So that's my little turn of phrase.
Alice,
But it's go ahead.
How'd you get into this?
I just really hate animals. No, I'm kidding. I really
Dude, she had me there. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, wait, then why are you doing this?
just like, they're beautiful, but wouldn't they be great if they just didn't move or eat or go to the bathroom, they'd be wonderful. No, I love animals. I absolutely love animals, super fascinated with them. And I like taxidermy because it's both a science and it's an art. And I kind of come to it from both. I have more of like an art background, but a big fascination with science. And I just always loved museums, and I was like, I want to work there. I want to make those things.
Oh,
So
cool.
yeah.
Very
I
good.
mean,
Found
that's
pretty cool.
amazing. But I want to dive in a little bit, and I get it that it's an art, but I'm a little confused with it's a science as well. So let's talk a little bit about how is taxidermy a science?
So it's a science in that I have to prep the animals. So I'm using a scalpel, I'm skinning them. Before I even do that, though, it's a lot of measurements and photos and what we call reference. And then, I kind of put on my science hat, and I have to go through and skin them and prepare the skin. And with mammals, you even have to use a bit of organic chemistry in that you're turning that raw skin into leather. It's a process called tanning. And then putting them back together, while I'm using my physical skills as an artist, I have to know what the behavior is of the animal in the pose that I'm putting it in. what's the anatomy of this and things like the glow in a dark environment, maybe it's in a bright light or a headlight or it's bright out. So it's all these different things where I'm talking, especially having been trained at the Natural History Museum. I'm working with the ornithologist, I'm working with the mammalogist, so I'm interpreting the science in an artistic way, if that makes sense.
I
I
see.
mean, that makes a lot of sense. 'Cause, that's
I
just
mean, it
like
does
I
make.
just realized that if you just leave it out like it is, the skin is gonna degenerate and just like go
Rot.
bad,
Hmm.
Yeah,
pretty
it's
much.
just
So
it's
it's
we've all seen roadkill. We know what happens.
All right. So how do you prevent it from rotting?
Yeah, so as I said, the inside is all a sculpture. I'm just working with the
The skin.
skin.
Hmm.
So when I skin something, it's like taking the peel off of an orange. The inside of that orange, or in this case, a carcass. That's where all the organic matter is, all the gases and everything that would break down, all the muscles, all the organs. That's going away. That is not my friend that I'm dealing with and working with. What I'm working with is the skin, which, as I said, like I'm turning that skin into leather. It's just like a leather jacket. Does your leather jacket rot? I mean, hopefully
No.
not, right? That's because it's gone,
Yes.
right? So it's gone through a process that's called tanning, where we actually change the skin on a molecular
Oh wow.
level,
Hmm.
and we're inserting an ion into it that turns it from this very unstable element into the stable element, which we know is leather. And that's a very fancy way of saying that I put skins in buckets and add different synthetic
I see.
chemicals to
All
it.
right.
Yeah.
Cool.
So,
Hmm.
yeah.
And then you do a pose to each animal, right? I imagine you do like a little construction structure. How do you
Yeah,
pick like an
I'm
animal's gonna
choosing
stand like this or like that?
Yeah, I'm choosing the pose. So while that tanning is happening in those buckets, I'm actually creating this sculpture of the animal in the pose to the size of that animal. And that's the other thing. You could be the same height, weight as me, but we're gonna look different, right? So, I'm making it custom to that animal based on all my measurements. So it's a lot of work to take something and make it look like it should have looked like in life. So it's kind of it's
That's
a challenge every time, and I love the challenge.
it's pretty
I
cool.
mean, it's amazing because it takes so much studying into the animal's natural behavior to just get that right pose. Because you're not gonna see a mountain lion basically sitting playing poker for no reason, right? It's gonna be in this pose doing something. So what happens when you like put the skin and you're skinning it? Does the fur stay attached, or do you have to like actually re-put in the fur? What's the
Yeah,
process on that?
the fur stays attached to the skin. And so same with feather. If I'm working on birds, that's all part of the skin when you take it apart. And again, it's like the peeling of that orange. If you covered the orange in fur, which would be weird, it would come off with the peel. So when I'm skinning something, I'm taking my scalpel and I'm putting it between the muscle and the skin, and it's
Yep.
kind of lifting off. It's like if you took off a hoodie, but that hoodie was made of skin.
Wow.
That's not something I
That's
want to
a way to
imagine, but
put it.
that's a good way of
Yeah,
putting it,
that's a
right?
good way of putting it.
But what I meant was with the chemicals and all these synthetic stuff you're adding to the, does it not damage the fur, or does the fur like what
No,
happens there?
it
It
doesn't
doesn't.
damage
Okay.
the fur. Basically, when I say chemicals, I'm initially putting it in formic acid. You can use any type of acid. I prefer formic. And you're putting it in a bucket with formic acid and salt, and the acid is actually like stretching the molecules. If you can imagine, like, let's go back to high school chemistry, and those little models of like the ball and the sticks. Imagine the sticks getting longer and the balls getting further apart. That's what the acid does.
I see.
And then the next kind of bucket it goes into, once that molecule is stretched out, again, it's got salt in it, water, and then you're adding, in my case, it's called lutan F. And what that is it creates a synthetic ion, which is a new little ball on that ball and stick model. And it's just 24 hours in that bucket, and it's magic. And all of a sudden, it is leather. And the fur is on there still with the eyelashes and the nose, even the claws are part of that skin. It's part of the dermis, which is why I do taxidermy. Taxi meaning movement or arrangement. Dermy is
And dermis is
dermis.
Latin for skin.
Oh wow. There
Yeah,
you go.
breaking it down.
Breaking it
Pretty
down.
much, yeah.
All right.
In case you haven't figured it out by now, I kind of know all these Latin words. Because
Oh, you speak Latin.
Yeah,
I don't
me
speak
too.
it. I just know I have to understand it because of what I do. So it's kind of like, yeah. So dermis, epidermis, dermis, and
Skin.
subdermis. It's like,
That's true.
so you take the whole triple layer, don't you? You go epidermis and
You take
subdermis.
all the skin out, right?
Exactly. Yeah, all three layers of the skin staying together plus the fur. And then what I'm actually cutting when I'm skinning is this it's called fascia, and it's this it's what connects the
Skin to the
skin to the
muscles.
muscle. Exactly. I'm cutting that microfascia. So you're never really when you're skinning, you're not cutting the skin except for your initial incisions. And yes, there's more than one way to skin a cat. There's like 4 ways.
I mean, we can get into that if you'd like, but I want to talk about the actual technique that you use when you're skinning. Has it become more second nature and muscle memory, or does it still like require intense amount of focus to maintain the same level as you're cutting through?
Yeah, at this point it's total muscle memory. In fact, I'm right-handed, but now I'm a little bit ambidextrous. I actually hurt my right hand a while back, and I was like, well, I'll just learn to skin with my left hand. So, so then I learned to do that. So I'll kind of
Wow.
switch back and forth. And I've good muscle memory at this point, but it's at the level like I can have Netflix on the
Yeah.
computer and be
Oh,
skinning
wow.
and yeah, I'll rewatch The Office for the 4th time. So.
Oh wow, I'm watching it for the first time, so no spoilers.
Oh my God,
Spoilers.
I wish I were you. That's
For the first time. What?
I'm in season 2. Yeah, I never watched it before. I'm still in season 2, so
you'll get
no
onto Parks
spoilers.
and Recreation next, I'm sure.
We'll see about that.
No, I didn't watch it when it came out either, and then I love it. It's really good, believe it or not.
Your internet is a little laggy there. You're still, but we'll give you a second just to come back. Oh, there you go. You're back just like that. So, go ahead, Eddie.
What are the ways to skin a cat?
Okay, so if you've seen a rug like of a bear or something, that's called an open incision, where you cut all of the 4 limbs, and then it makes kind of a rug cut or an open incision.
Oh, okay.
You can
Open 'em up.
do a
Mhm. Like
you
from
can
the
do
belly?
a ventral. Yeah, from the belly and then going up all 4 limbs like that. And then it's just kind of like open, and you could lay it completely open on the floor. The other way is a ventral incision. That's when you're going from the kind of bottom
Base
of
of the
the
neck.
neck area, yeah, and then you're going all the way down to we'll just call it the crotch, but you go down
The
to the
genital area. Or the
the genital anal area. It's funny. I'm like, oh, you're gonna kind of skin to the taint, which is not the terminology I love to use with my students. So he's like, it's the genital anal area. And then the other way would be dorsal. You can skin down the back, and then there is cased, where you go to bottom foot through the genital anal area to the other bottom foot, and that's called cased. Or tubing, where everything just comes off like a sweater. So yeah, those are the 4 ways. But you can skin something however you want. I just always try to think, where is this going? If it's going in a diorama and the display side or the show side is the left side, then I'll put my incision on the right side.
I see.
Yeah.
So you know where it's going before you cut it, usually.
Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. If I'm just prepping things out to prep them out, because I have a lot of freezers, but storing whole frozen animals like a full-size zebra, it's just not an option for me.
It's really not. Yeah. But here's what I want to know: where do you get your animals from? Are they like roadside kills, or are they like what happens?
So the way I get my specimens, again, mostly I work for museums and nature centers.
Mhm.
So there is a lot of, they have special permits to pick up roadkill. There is for birds, a lot of window strikes, unfortunately. Also, some things are just found dead. Another way is when animals are injured, they go to a rehab center. They don't always make it. So that's another way. And then for my classes as well, there is depredation abatement, which is different types of pest control. So I teach birds 101, which is European starlings, and they're non-native, they're invasive, they're nest destroyers, and they
Oh
eat.
wow.
Yeah, they're pretty much horrible
In Los Angeles, they're
all
like.
over. They're the most numerous birds in North America. They're not even from here,
Uh-huh.
and they're really bad for the environment. So I've got friends who are in pest control who actually go out and
I
kill
see.
them, and
Mhm.
they would rot otherwise, but I use them for education.
Oh,
So.
it's like a
Yep.
little practice for bird taxidermying.
Yeah,
Right?
so
So
normally I do like workshops and classes. I was teaching at Occidental College. I was actually teaching a taxidermy class last spring semester on behalf of the biology department there. Um, but yeah, and I use European starlings for all kinds of teaching.
Cool. I see. And
that's amazing.
that's pretty
Like
cool.
you,
European
it's-
starlings. Stay away from from here.
so so what's your favorite animal to do? And I'm guessing it's cats, or am I wrong?
No, not cats at all.
Oh,
I love doing birds. I'm known for my small birds. I'm known for being one of the few people who do hummingbirds. Yeah, that's kind of my jam is
Mhm.
tiny birds. So my favorite, bird to do, it's usually whatever bird I'm doing at the time because I dive into some deep research on it generally. I love doing jays, I think the most. They're a type of corvid. They're super feisty. I even have like my tattoo of
Oh,
a
is it blue?
scrub jay, of
that's pretty
specifically
cool.
a coastal jay. Yeah,
All right,
so
cool.
yeah,
Mhm.
they're fun birds to do.
Mhm.
It's not bad.
Why do you need to do research for each animal? Like,
I
isn't it
need
the
to
same thing?
know what it's going to end up looking like, right? So if I've got a jay and it's going to look like it's doing a behavior, well, typically speaking, I wouldn't have it just standing on the ground. Not a scrub jay. Like they like to be on little branches being feisty and fighting with each other. And specifically in where I live, I always see them on manzanita. So I'm like, oh, I'll just grab some manzanita, put it on there, and have it look like it's squawking like an asshole. And that's what a jay does. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Talking like an asshole. I think that's what's the title of this video is gonna be.
That's funny.
It's pretty cool.
Mhm.
But correct me if I'm wrong, but they do use a lot of taxidermied animal on movie sets and different shows, right? They
Yeah, and I do some of that work. I had stuff on more noticeably on Bates Motel.
Oh wow.
oh
Um,
wow.
What do you do for that?
I did some Eurasian jays. I did some quail. Don't look at the first like couple seasons. I didn't do that work at
Okay.
all. So he got really, really good at the end. But yeah, things like that. But generally, when they contact me, prop houses and things, and they want taxidermy work, it takes a long time, and I'm always multitasking.
Mhm.
So my work has like a 1 year lead time. Like I'm backed up by a year. So
I
which
see.
is fine for museums, but not necessarily for television and movies. So, but I do commissions like if someone wants design work for their home or something like that occasionally. So,
So do you do like if say I had a pet dog and I wasn't over its death,
I
right?
wasn't
And
over its death.
I want to have it like taxidermied. You would do that, right? You would taxidermy a
I
dog.
used I used to not do pet work because it is, I have dogs. I would not want my dogs taxidermied.
Mm.
So I didn't want to kind of sell something that I wouldn't want myself. But I just got so many requests for it. So I finally put a thing on my website where if you want pet work done, but there's like paragraphs about like, I'll only do it if this, because I people think they want their pet taxidermied because they like the idea of it, but then they see it and then they're like, it can be quite upsetting. So I'm just like, make sure you're pragmatic, make sure you really want it. It's a sculptural representation of your pet.
Yeah,
Because I
pretty
can
much.
I can make a German Shepherd, but can I make your German Shepherd that you looked at every single day that died, probably very old and obviously in bad condition because it died? Can I make it look, I can't make it look young again. I'm not my dermatologist, So
Yes.
so yeah,
Fair.
so I don't
Shout
have
out to your dermatologist.
yeah, yay, Dr. Rahimi. So
Of course, he's Arabic.
oh yeah, he's amazing. He's amazing. So
Yes.
I'm just as preserved as my animals. So
Oh,
Okay,
okay.
that's a good
question. Okay.
You take care of your own. You take care of your own skin.
oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So that's a good way to put it. But I was like, people are like, oh, you don't look like a taxidermist. It's like, A, what do you think a taxidermist should look like?
I can tell you, but you'll be upset.
B, it's like if I can make a dead animal look alive, like I think I can do something with this.
Yes.
You definitely did. Let's say that. But like, what was I gonna say? Here's my issue with people taxidermying their pet is that it'll put them in some weird shit because it's like they're used to like Lucky and the dog is like subdued and it's like now they're gonna be like